Welcome to the show. I am your quite exhausted host, Stuart Davis, Flawed Man of God. I am just getting back from a long but great soccer practice for my son. It was excellent. Excellent. How is everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? Again, like I said, I'm your host, Stuart Davis, Flawed Man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Many times I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're listening to this stream, if you hear me talking, you can count on me giving my honest takes on whatever it is that we're discussing. So if you're somebody who's new to Christianity, or probably more like somebody who is looking at Christianity, you're feeling that pull, right? And you're searching for meaning. Maybe that small voice in the back of your mind wondering if there's more to your existence than just this life here on earth. And you've come to the internet looking for that motivation. For whatever reason, you've come to the internet looking for motivation. You just want that extra little shove from strangers who you've never met, probably will never meet, but you want to hear something to kind of push you towards, making that next step. Look, you don't have to watch the whole stream. You can close it out whenever you want. But if that's what you're looking for, let me go ahead and give that to you. Go, continue, pursue Christ. Give your life to him. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. I believe in you. The chat believes in you. The folks not in the chat viewing
Hopefully they believe in you too. We all want to see you succeed. So go ahead. Go ahead and do it. If that's what you wanted, that motivation, hey, that's that's all I really want to accomplish. Get people, get people in the faith. But if you want to stick around, right? Stick around with us, hang out, talk about the faith. I think you might enjoy it. It's a very, very informal, very casual stream, layperson oriented. It's not scripted. It's not this contrived. It's clearly not that professional stream. It's not everything is stream of consciousness. So we're not dealing with contrived back and forths, and it's not a debate show. We're not debating. We're just discussing. And you can learn a little bit about what goes on in the faith that way. And if you're already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. Glad to have you here. Run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school, very small group oriented. We are a small group. The chat, relatively small, relatively small. Me, I'm here every time I'm streaming. Veritex puts an asterisk on my record, but I have perfect attendance on these streams. Uh, but seriously, that's how we're organized, and that's how we discuss things. And we would appreciate the input from anybody watching. So whether you are looking to become a Christian or you've been a Christian all your life, you're smarter about the faith than me, you're more mature in your faith than me, or if you're somewhere in between, get in that chat. Get in that chat and be part of the show. We got a great group of folks who tune in and night out and are part of this chat. And you, again, invaluable to the show. Look, most important, God, right? The Trinity, the Word, all that stuff, right? The faith, that's at the top. Then there's me, because I put it all together, and just below me, that's the chat right there. And then everything else is it's whatever. But I want you to be there. So, how do you participate in the chat? It's very easy. Just talk. Just talk. This isn't a pay for chat stream. If you put words in there, I'm gonna read and react to them. We're not that big of a group. So give me your opinion. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What unique insight, perspective, experience do you have that you can add to what we're discussing? Or maybe you just want to add on to something somebody else has said. Ask questions. I can't promise you answers. In fact, I say it all the time. There's a likelihood I don't have an answer for you, but we can talk about the question and hopefully point you in the right direction. Or maybe one of these brilliant folks in the chat has an answer for you. And off we go into the stream. Guys, it is humid outside. And Knucklehead here decided, I'm not going to change. I'm just going to switch shoes before soccer practice. I don't move around. I'm not running. Kept my jeans on. Dude, I am sweating. And the unfortunate thing is, I already took my weekly shower yesterday. So I guess everybody's stuck with me. But seriously, proud parent moments, my son just watching the growth, because we've got a couple of kids returning to this team from the spring season, just seeing them grow, all of them, my son included, in talent has been amazing. This seems to be one of the biggest leaps in talents that I've seen from one season to the next. And my son is much more confident in goalie, much more aggressive. And we had a scrimmage against a team, coached against a team that with a lot of players that I've coached the last 2 years, some really good players and a really good coach. And he was taking all the shots down, got stepped on a little bit on the last play. We were letting him play. It was a little bit over time. He made that last save and got a couple of feet on his legs. And then he was hurt. He was hurt. But He wasn't faking it. He wasn't doing it just because he was tired. He wasn't over exaggerating. He had a legitimate sore on his knee, his ankle. So any prayers for that would be appreciated. Um, and there you have it. There you have it. Just proud dad moment. Just proud coach moments. Just seeing kids put it all together. Kids you coached in the past, seeing that they're still pursuing the sport. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. Alex Moore is in the chat with the first dot. Veritax with the second dot. And yes, it's Yex. Guess who's back? And then finishes off the ellipses right here. Right there. Talk about. Debating would make it hard to catch those fish. Debating would be hard. Would make it hard to catch those fish a stew. Hey, don't knock my talk. But yeah, we had that was actually something brought up by one of my buddies when Honest Youth Pastor came on a couple of weeks ago. Um, when I was still planning that out with him, um, when I was still planning things out with him on that, my friend asked me, "Hey, are you bringing on to debate him?" I was like, "No, we don't do debates on the show. That's not what it's about. Too much of what debate shows end up being, or start off being, and never stop being, is folks talking past each other. And yeah, there's some point counterpoint, but and it's just everybody's coming away with either the guy did a good job or he did a bad job, or he hit these points, the other guy hit these points. Oh, he showed him up. And what do? You walk away, everybody's still pretty much on the same side of the way they started with. And that's and look, I'm sure there's a place for it, but one, those don't entertain me. They don't. Um, and two, that's just not the place where this is. As I've said it before, I invited a gentleman because we were talking about that Instagram back and forth about Catholicism, and the Vatican having sending confused messages by words and actions and everything, and that's continued into today. And so finally I was tired after practice too. I was just like, dude, just come up onto the show, get in the chat, and we can talk about it here. So, but Yex, it's good seeing you, buddy. How have you been? How have you been? Disappointed in Lisa Rose? Who is Lisa Rose? Who'd that be? We are going to. Where did we leave off? Oh, we're back on pace. Liza Rose. Who is Liza Rose? It's been a lot. Lol. Yeah. Yeah, I need to check up in with my man Christian Mario too, because I know he's been he's been going through it. Hopefully he's coming out he's coming out on the other side. Need to get his tail back on this show is what we need. I've been bugging him about it and he hasn't given me an answer. We talk about other things. I'm gonna call him out. Somebody clip this. Christian Mario, get your tail back on this show. We need to talk about baptism. We need to talk about your your path to orthodoxy. All of it. Miss you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. But get off your butt and get on the stream. All right, so we're back on pace with Proverbs, right? So we finished up 20. Hopefully we can get to 25 tonight. Even if we have to break it down though, I think by tomorrow evening we'll be done with Proverbs 17. But every time I make a prediction like that, it is what it is. Every time he just ends up being wrong. Thad demand. Oh, here we go. So Liza Rose, anti-abortion activist, very loud. She collected 18 million to help women avoid abortions. About 99% went to her salary and expenses. Do you have any idea how far 18 million can go in helping? I hate this. I hate this grift. I don't know who she is. And she should know better, especially if she's into the anti-abortion thing as much as the claim. I'm not on the scene, so I don't know a whole lot about it. All right. I support anti-abortion legislation. I am close to, if not an abolitionist on the subject. But at this point, I just want it gone. I just want it gone, and I hate every moment this delayed. And you see something like this, $18 million. Do you know how far $18 million can go to helping women in crisis? Not have abortions. Look, there's some women. The money is not a thing for some women. It's all about the career. It's all about the opportunity and everything, and that's not going to speak to them. But there are legitimately folks who think, I can't afford this. What am I going to do about this? I can't afford the medical expenses. There's a lot of fear out there. Especially, it's I would say worse with Obamacare. But those things, those pregnancy resource centers, those crisis um, help groups or whatever, they do a lot of work, and helping somebody get by and letting them know that they're supported. Hey, we're going to buy some stuff for you. We're going to get you started and on your feet and get you some momentum. That helps. It really helps, and it also helps pay for people to be there, even though a lot of it's volunteer work. Why isn't she volunteering a lot of that? 18 million, 99% to her salary and expenses. Gonna have to answer for that. It'd be interesting. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about judgment for folks. That's we can use our own imagination on that. Don't need to bring that down. So, and yeah, look, that's bad, and this is a problem. And Veritex is saying that a lot of charities out there. Some of it's embarrassing, and that's why I said, like, if this channel ever got monetized, and I was getting ad revenue for anything, I've got local charities set up that I want to send 90% of the revenue I get from this. If I ever got monetized, 90% of it would go to that. Lord have mercy indeed, yes. We are a demonically deluded nation. We are a demonically deluded world. But specifically Western nations. We have got so much going for us. And we trip up over this stuff. Here's the thing. Young women don't consider why this is wrong. You know why? Now, look, ultimately, you're responsible for your own action. You're responsible for your own actions. But we raise women in a culture where abortion is looked on as a right. So if it's looked on at that, it's always an option. It dehumanizes. It lessens what it is and what it represents. They're told that's always an option. And there is a side of there's a political side. Let's not get it twisted. The Republicans like this only like this topic when it gives them funding. They don't like it when it means standing for principle, as we can see. as we can see. Some of the most, and a lot of, this is before Trump came out with recently, but this is like a year and a half ago when Trump was talking about when the Roe case got overturned. Let's go back. When the Roe case got overturned and we were all cheering, there were some of the quote unquote pro-life group who were never Trumpers going, well, this isn't the right way for it to happen. Shut up. Can you just be happy about it? Can you just celebrate a victory? Oh, I'm sorry. The guy that I don't like, that I told everybody was evil, who cares? Who cares? Give him credit, whatever. He put those judges on there. Those judges made that decision. Whatever. It's a win. It's a W. Own it. Use that momentum. And don't run from it when it's on the ballot. Use it as an opportunity to start campaigning for it. But the Republicans don't want that. They don't want to be, y'all, anybody here who's diehard red GOP, you got to understand, GOP does not want to be Christian. They just want money from churches. They just want money from the evangelicals. Big Ava. They like us for our funding. They don't like our politics. It's scary. It's icky. It's not popular. And that's why I get on these Christian nationalists who come out there and they're like, oh, yeah, we need to do it. You got to change that at the local level, buddy. It has got to be a culture change. No, but I'll take the win I'll take the win where it happens, though, Yex. I don't believe policy and law will change the heart of the country. My generation, almost wholly secular, and no law can change that. Hasn't there been a little bit of an arc? Like, there's more y'all who are religious, and y'all are more traditionally religious than the millennials. Isn't Gen Z a little bit more return to tradition? Veritex said, wait, maybe I should ask, was it 8 million Dogecoin? I don't know. You have to ask Thad. Thad, you'll have to answer that one. The one charity that woke me up to the economics was the Breast Cancer Foundation. Can't remember the exact name. Susan Komen. Is that which one you're talking about? Susan Komen? Because I think they got, for me, it was, what was the veterans one? Before Tunnels to Towers. Wounded Warrior. Wounded Warrior. Even a political utopia will only last a short while. Well, I mean, this is because we ruin everything. Putting in the state's hands is progress, but you have to change hearts and minds before it could ever be nationwide, frankly. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be culture change. It's got to start from the ground up. Oh, here, meaning the planet. Okay. That works. I hope so, Stu. Just the men. Yeah, mostly the men. But good. That's the place where it starts. Statistically speaking, that's where it starts. Right? The husband and the father overwhelmingly ultimately ends up bringing the family over versus any of the other folks. When they start going to church, odds are everybody else is coming. They lead. It's almost like God designed it that way. Oh. I don't think that it matters what the currency was. Yeah. Was it a ton of bricks or a ton of feathers? I think he was asking if it was 18 million Doge coins, not $18 million in Doge coins. But yeah, no. Still, we're making light of it. Yes. Stu, I stood in a tri-state lifeline for life. I'm sorry. Stu, I stood in a tri-state lifeline for life As a 10-year-old with my church family, we have prayed for change on this issue for so long. The fight isn't over. Its venue has changed. Yeah. Oh, here we go. There you go. Serrano's with the nice one. Nah, bro. Just as long as you're being vaguely nice by our current standards, you're doing a heckin' all wholesome Christianity. Yeah. Wasn't Susan Komen. I don't know. I thought I'd heard something about it. But for me, it was Wounded Warrior got caught with a lot of that, which is part of the reason why you don't hear about Wounded Warrior anymore. They from what I understand, they dropped off the map. Tunnels for Towers is picked up. There's FAV, I think, that does some donation stuff. But yeah, from what I understand, St. Jude's is pretty solid. So if you're looking for a place to start that's pretty well known, I think St. Jude's. Don't take my word for it. Look into it. But I'm pretty sure St. Jude's is pretty solid on that. All right. We're 30 minutes in. It's time. We need to get into these Proverbs. What? Proverbs 17, verse 21. He who becomes the parent of a fool who is spiritually blind does so to his sorrow, and the father of a fool who is spiritually blind has no joy. I came on here with the proud dad moment, right? It does make me feel better. My son and oldest daughter, baptizing them this past Easter. That's a beautiful thing. And hearing them pray, hearing them talk to me about God, seeing that has been it's reassuring, right? I know they still got a long way to go. And I know that, and this is one of those things that you're always worried about. But man, the idea of your kid not being a believer, rejecting God, and not being in a place where he's saved, where she is saved, that is what's my worst nightmare, guys. Worst nightmare is I'm wrong about all of this, and there's nothing. There's nothing. We all just disappear, and there's nothing around. Worst nightmare. Worst case, absolute worst case scenario. There's no God. I have faith that there isn't, but that's my biggest fear. Second biggest fear is for my kid's salvation, my wife's salvation, my brother, my parents, my family members, my friends around me, all of them, people around me who I feel like are better people than me, falling away. I don't really worry about me falling away. I feel like my faith is pretty much set, and my behavior always needs work. Behavior always needs work, but just you don't know what's going on in the heart. You don't always know 100% sure. You don't know how life's going to affect people. I'm just always worried about it. That's a nightmare. No joy is 100% correct. Father of a fool who's spiritually blind has no joy. Sorrow. We're not going to stick on this for a little bit, guys. Those who are parents understand. Those who aren't parents, think of your parents, and then probably add an extra layer of care on it. Because guess what? You feel responsible for how your kids turn out. And so there's some weight and there's some guilt and there's some on that added to that as well. It's gotta suck. I don't ever want to be in that position. That's good to hear, Yex. I'm the same way, Baritex. But that's good to hear, Yex. Don't think you can stop believing in his existence, but I absolutely fear that I'll put him to the side. Normally, when we're this cognizant, Yex, it's usually when it's usually something in the moment, or we've just become complacent about it in some aspect. But where you're at right now, if you just keep that momentum, it never really stops being at the forefront of your mind, but you just have to be worried about blind spots. And Veritex said to keep most of his giving to charity and local organizations that you can check up on. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's a good policy. Oh, 14 million. Dad's tweeting at me now. Oh. All right. Let's not stay on that. A happy heart. There we go. There we go. Happy heart is good medicine, and a joyful mind causes healing. But a broken spirit dries up the bones. What's the quote? Anybody here seen Son of a Woman? Anybody here see Son of a Woman? Al Pacino, Chris O'Donnell. It's a masterpiece. Yex, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it. Came out way before you were born, but it is a masterpiece. What does he say? What is one of the lines? I've seen men younger than these. Oh, this is one of my favorite lines, period. And I wish there are times I want to go into a denominational issue where modernizers are screwing up the joint. If I was half the man I'd take a flamethrower to this place. The Colonel. That's all you got to know him as, the Colonel. But it's the Senate in that same speech. He says, I've seen men younger than these, their arms blown off, the legs ripped, or their legs blown off, their arms ripped out of their sockets. But there is nothing like an amputated spirit. There's no prosthetic for that. There's no prosthetic for that. It's a good coming of age movie. Can't wait to watch it with my kid. Golly, that it's a lot of build up to that last, and there's a couple of good moments, but it's all worth it for the last scene, the climax. Too old, too blind. The broken spirit drives up the bones. And we were just coming off of this. We're just coming off of a proverb before that's talking about parents of kids who've apostatized. Parents of kids who've turned their back on God. Don't respect him, don't fear him. Facing damnation. Right? Feels like a given. Break your spirit. Oof. But a happy heart is good medicine, and a joyful mind causes healing. Times we're down. Times where we have dealt with loss. Veritex talking here. All I know, having been through at least 2 confirmed miscarriages with the first wife, and what that did to her and us, I can't imagine what someone who commits the A goes through in guilt afterwards. We have What's going on, Porcupine? How you been? Um, yeah, well, as you guys know, we had two miscarriages right before the youngest was born, and it kind of hit us weird because we'd never had issues conceiving at all, at all before that, and carrying to term either. So this was kind of new territory for us, and I am glad that it happened because remember when we had our first kid, and I was married, then we had first kid a few years later. Um, my wife wasn't a believer. I was glad for um, I was glad that she was firm in her faith because that was something that she deeply held on to during that time. Faith in God. It wasn't good. It was stressful. There's a lot going on. A lot of emotions. Doesn't feel good, clearly. But her having that good grounding in faith kept that situation or those two situations. That let's call it that spring and summer because that was what it was. Uh, the spring and summer of 22. That was a rough time. Veritex given the KJV, the King James. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. Yeah, sounds like the King James. And Porcupine, man, you coming in here right now with what you've dealt with our loss this year too. Our faith is. But hang on, guys. All right. With what you guys have dealt with this past year too, um, and that's on my mind a lot of times, especially with I know you listen to a lot, Porcupine. I don't know how often you catch on replay or how much you listen into the background or whatever. But you being used to being more in the chat than normal or than recently. It's all in my mind. It's like because you always worry about your friends and your colleagues and everything when they go through this kind of stuff because it is hard. It is not. It is not an easy path. And so I'm glad that you guys have weathered that storm at least as far as y'all as it's come, and um, hopefully better seasons are ahead of you. Yeah, said I think that's why God allows these evil situations to happen to us as a nation. Russians believe God let communism happen to them so they'd repent and return because they took him for granted. I'd be interested to see that because orthodoxy was still in place um, before during the czars, but I don't know enough about Russian culture to know how deeply religious they were. I thought they were though. I thought they were pretty steadfast. Like communism was a big step back for them. But I don't know. Maybe they were taking it for granted. Um, who knows? I mean, because Rasputin was supposed to be posing as a priest, that became cultural. Okay, okay, which is what we want that balance of the culture being true instead of just yeah, I'm a Christian because that's what we all are here. Not that, and you're not like like a lot of folks. Yeah, I'm Catholic just because my family was Catholic, and I don't actually go to mass or anything. But I've been through the sprinkling. I've been through the all that. And it's like It's not the same, buddy. So, happy heart is good medicine. Joyful mind causes healing. This is what you would say. Look, that's where you need to keep your focus, your faith, like we were talking about. Your faith keeping you rooted helps you heal. It's not going to make you impervious. It's not saying you are invulnerable. You're not immune, but what it will do is help heal you. Do you think God expected Job not to experience sorrow or loss or any of the feelings that he felt when he went through what he went through? No. No. Job kept the faith. That support role is important. As I said, the man leads the family. That wife is that backbone there, helping the kids, helping set you up for success, maintaining that stuff. People don't understand that. Um, we talk about it. We talk about. I use a military example because it's easier because the warriors get all the, they get all the glory, they get all the notoriety. Um, that kind of stuff. Um, but an army with with a logistics train, an army with better organized, better and better support on the back end will absolutely ruin your day because your folks are going to be better taken care of. They're going to be better in better shape to fight. They're going to be more ready. All that support stuff. Got to have the fuel and the ammo. But the logistics folks don't get any of the notoriety. They don't get any of the glory and everything. That's a lot of how that works is like in the family. We're the men, we lead, we get we're the, the generals, the warriors. Look at we win we run the show. That godly wife behind us helping us out big time. Helping make sure that success is, but we're making sure that we are successful. Right. Sidney Riley was working with the Patriots or patriarchs to overthrow Lenin. Okay. I don't know who Sidney Riley is, though. Let's see. All right. Man, it's been sad. A wicked man receives, or verse 23, a wicked man receives a bribe from the hidden pocket to pervert the ways of justice. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Felty? Wicked man receives a bribe from the hidden pocket to pervert the ways of justice. There you go. Let's not be corrupt. We talk about the politicians, all this other stuff. What are they interested in? The money. They'll take the easy money. They'll take the money um, that just needs lip service to them. They'll also take the money that buys them. The folks who spend money, who expect and demand something in return, not the ones who forget every election cycle. Because going, oh no, I've supported you all this time. Have you though? Have you had my best interest? Have you been looking out for me? Are you interested in stepping down after it's been a few terms? Wicked man receives a bribe from the hidden pocket to pervert the ways of justice. And that is a tale. It's corruption. It is corruption. And one of its oldest forms. You can talk about the original corruption of the serpent, Satan, talking to Eve, going, "Well, did God really mean this? Is God trying to keep something from you?" That corruption of doubt and discord. But then there's the also of the well, and then you've got the Cain and Abel of jealousy, of spitefulness, that kind of stuff, that corruption. But then you have the corruption of I can be bought. My faith can be bought. My my reputation can be bought, or my dignity can be bought. My self-respect can be bought. Prostitution. Is it any different from that? Is a corrupt politician or a corrupt official any different from a prostitute? Just keep your clothes on. Skillful and godly wisdom is in the presence of a person of understanding, and he recognizes it. But the eyes of a thick-headed fool are on the ends of the earth. Yex, you might be happy that we are back in the amplified. We've got the NIV on the side to kind of help out if it gets a little confusing. And the NIV has helped kind of put some things into perspective, but we're back. We're still leaning on amplified. I knew you'd be happy about that. Skillful and godly wisdom is in the presence of a person of understanding, and he recognizes it. The eyes of a thick-headed fool are on the ends of the earth. The ends of the earth. Oh, fool's eyes wander. Okay. Because we're talking about wandering eyes. Don't roll your eyes at me. I was raised on the NIV, daggone it. I live in the NIV. The NIV for me. Robs rob justice from others. And yourself. Right. Eyes of a fool go to the ends of the earth. Brenton Greek. That's pretty much I was wondering about the eyes of the fool on the ends of the earth. I wanted to make sure I got that right, but I think NIV does a good job kind of solidifying that wandering eyes. Right? That's what it's describing. Going to the ends of the earth, wandering eyes. I think what we're seeing here is wisdom. When you if person of understanding recognize wisdom, you're focused on it. Right? You keep focus on that wisdom, you build upon it, you lean against it, you're grounded in it, right? That wisdom, you take it seriously, you apply it, etc. Trying to hammer this home. But a fool, thick-headed fool. I love how amplified put some amplified context in here is lovely. Eyes of a thick-headed fool are on the ends of the earth. Wandering eyes. They're not focused on it. They're looking everywhere. They're not paying attention. The ADHD moment. Oh, yeah, whatever. It's whatever seems like a good idea at the time. They're not paying attention of what works, what makes sense. What's the fundamentals? What's the foundation of this knowledge? With the foundation and the practice of our faith and everything. Orthodox and Catholics can point to like tradition possibly being part of that. It's those kind of things. But a fool who's thick-headed, he's like, yeah, I mean, that's great, but this is great too. I like this. This looks cool because it's shiny and new right now. What's the flavor of the week? Their eyes are looking at each I was thinking wall-eyed. I was thinking wall-eyed. While looking at each way, but they're looking everywhere. They're looking everywhere instead of where you're supposed to be. And how true is this? How do we see this applied with the Israelites? Is when you see them during the Exodus, or you see them with the after settling down in the Promised Land. You've been led here with all the signs and all the instructions, and and the commandments and the miracles and the speech from Moses sending you in and taking out Jericho and setting things up, and this beautiful generation of Joshua's that does things righteously. You've got all the foundation set up. You've got everything you need. But my Molech, but my Mammon, but my Baal, got to worship them too because it feels good, because it's tempting. And we use the Israelites doing that. Don't think we're any different. How often have you been involved where you make a mistake and you're like, "Gosh, I got away from what I knew. Got away from what I knew worked. I stopped being true to what I knew was right because I wanted to try it a different way, or I thought I could get away with it. Got a little too cute, didn't you?" It's like me. I play racing game, or I like racing games. Play a lot of after I get off the stream, play a lot of Forza. I'm rolling through those curves and everything. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll hit the brakes a little bit. Hit those brakes a little bit later. Maybe I'll take the turn this way. Next thing I know, I'm in the gravel, getting past. Instead of going, I know where I'm supposed to hit the apex, where I'm supposed to hit the gas in the apex. No, I'm supposed to have the approach on the hairpin. How am I supposed to handle this? But I'm jamming. I'm like, no, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it different this time. I can do it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Get with the times, all that fat old-fashioned stuff is whack. We know better now. Look, Solomon, look, it's Solomon's. This quote is probably very similar to what Rehoboam, Solomon's son, who takes over after the man who wrote this proverb, who takes over his kingdom, does. Do you want to talk to the old guys? No, I want to talk to my friends. I will do everything I can to never be like them. No, where did that end up? We act the same way. Maybe we're not so blatantly bad, but maybe we are. Don't measure yourself against what the Israelites did. Just remember, it happened to them so it can happen to you. Stay vigilant. Keep on the lookout. Oh, Yex, you're right at that age too. You're right at that age where that really starts to hit home. Where you're like, oh gosh, that's why they told me this. I'm past that age now. Not to say that I'm not learning things, but you know, I'm an old man. I am the old man now. All right, last one for the night. A foolish son is a grief and anguish to his father, and bitterness to her who gave birth to him. Do we need to rehash this? Ugh. All right. Hopefully, we're not just talking about apostasy. Hopefully, this is just talking about Yex's anecdote about teenager acting. That's how teenagers act. I will do everything I can to never be like them. I failed. It's the hormones, buddy. Um, it's hard seeing your kids screw up. It's hard seeing them make decisions that, and I haven't seen it yet to this level, decisions that will ruin their life, then catch them up in a constant struggle that they might not ever get out of. We talked last week, had a long talk about addiction, dealing with that, with friends with that, dealing with that. Yes, yes. It's difficult. Grief and anguish, bitterness, especially when it's your kid. I thought I did a better job, or maybe I did. Maybe I was a colossal failure. And not only that, it's a reflection on you. You don't. I mean, at some point you do care that other people are looking at you, but that's not what you really care about. What you really care about is that you want your kid to succeed. You want them to not act foolishly. You want them to not make those mistakes. We try so much. I tell this to my son. I'm trying to get you not to make the mistakes that I made. That you can make mistakes, your own mistakes that you will make. And then you could be smarter and you can pass them on to your kids. And so we all just get smarter, right? All get more faithful. We all get more grounded. It's a worst case. It's a nightmare. Seeing the quick disarray of the Israelite showcase in the Old Testament reminds me of the disarray that happened in 2020. They got distracted, clouded to their face in reliance on God. Yeah. And we were so scared of COVID. Shut down churches. And we didn't see the hypocrisy even in our own actions. We were still going to the grocery store. Shut down those churches real quick. If I get EL on the show, which I need to talk to him, maybe I'll talk to him on Sunday. If I get EL on the show, I'm going to talk. That's one of the things I'm going to talk to him about. A church that grew during COVID. Two struggling churches formed together and grew like a wildfire. Didn't shut down. Oh, okay. You worried about coming into a building? That's fine. Park your car in the parking lot, and we're going to preach to you, and you can tailgate. You're going to tailgate this sermon. You're going to tailgate this worship. You're going to tailgate this communion. And you're still there. You're still getting the parents. You're still getting that fellowship because you're in the car next to, or in the bed of your pickup next to your buddies that you see. Everybody's still together, and it's not exactly the same, but it's still close. You're still singing, still taking communion, still hearing it right there live in person. You're still able to interact with each other, not shut in on virtual, and then where you can come up with the excuse, well, and you're watching it and you're doing other things in the background. Steve, I've been meaning to text you this week because I hadn't heard from you in so long. I hadn't talked to you since we hung out. Glad to see you back. Yex said, I was talking with my younger sister about some issues she's having interpersonally, and I'm trying to relay that I've done what she's done, and it don't work. It's like she can't get it. Parenting must be infuriating sometimes. I haven't gotten to the teenager stage, which I think is where the real frustration comes. I'm not sure. Steve's a little bit ahead of me on this. His kids are a couple years older than mine. But and they're not, and I don't even know if they're really at that age yet where you're really starting to make life decision mistakes. It's, to me, it puts things more in perspective when you see them young, because they're still figuring a lot of stuff out, and you really still are. I mean, even at your age, Yex, you're still figuring stuff out. And if it's your younger sister, she's still figuring stuff out, and sometimes they just have to make the mistake on their own to figure it out. That's what I had to do. Yes, I think that's talking to you about. I'm never going to be like them. You failed. You were like you had issues with that. It is. I'm sure it is frustrating. I don't think it's much. It's so much infuriating as it is scary and worrisome and stressful. But I don't know. I'll have to get back to you. Right now, it's always where are they going to land. Right, there's so much unknown ahead of them. Oh, okay. Football started. Football practice. Yeah, we're doing soccer practice. Just got back from that today. I'm still sweaty. I got to take a shower. So good to see you back in the chat, Steve. Good to see you back in the chat. All right. But that's the worry. Six to 8. Ooh. That's the worry here, folks. That's something to be scared of. This is a proverb. This isn't a warning. This is just a truism. It's like, yeah, thanks, Solomon. Thanks for thanks, Solomon. Thanks for bringing up things I'm terrified of. I actually thought they were older, Steve. Not by much. Like a year or two. That was it. But yeah, they're getting in. They're almost at the teens. They're preteens right now, but they're almost in the teens. Anyway, all right, guys, we're going to finish that. We're going to finish up these. So we got 26, 27, 28 for tomorrow, and then we can finish with Proverbs 17. We're going to make it. We are going to make it. I don't look. Lord have mercy, Yex. I don't get into the black pilled. We're not going to make it. Some people won't. But God is more powerful than sin. Be Christ pilled. You're going to make it. We're going to make it, folks, by the grace of God. By the grace of God, we're going to make it. We're going to make it, Yex. We're going to make it, Steve. We're going to make it, Porcupine. We're going to make it, Matt. We're going to make it, Thad. We're going to make it, Veritex. We're going to make it, Serranos. We're going to make it, Alex. We're going to make it. We're going to make it, all of y'all in the chat who do so much in contributing to this show. Even if it's saying hi at the end of the show. Thanks, Steve. We're going to make it, guys who aren't, and gals who aren't in the chat, who are just listening. You're going to make it. All of y'all catching me on replay, thank you. We're going to make it. assuming there's a nuclear war, we're going to make it. Ain't no nuclear weapon out there. There ain't a nuclear arsenal out there. There ain't the combined total yield any more powerful than God. Vaporize me. I don't care. For all of you guys catching me on replay, thank you. Even though I'm sorry I missed you, you're going to make it. We're going to make it. Hope to catch you live sometime so I can tell you we're going to make it. Anyways, to tell you we're going to make it live. Everybody, you're going to make it. Have a good night. And God bless.